Hey everyone, welcome into Warp Factor 10, our show about all things Star Trek here on the Arena Productions. I'm your host X-Pat along with my co-host Burley. Burley, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How are you, X-Pat?
I'm doing excellent. And of course, it's time for another recap and discussion of Star Trek Picard. Obviously, Season 3, Episode 2, called Disengage. We're going to be talking about that. But before we get into it, I just want to let everybody know that we also have a Patreon. And you can check us out over on Patreon. And the ad-free version of Warp Factor 10, along with all of our other shows that we do here on the Arena Productions, of course, goes ad-free onto Patreon. So if you want to support us over on Patreon, please go and check us out. The link is below there. So you can go and check us out over on Patreon as well. So come and support us over there in all of our content creation. Also, of course, this is going to be a spoiler-filled recap and discussion of Picard Season 3, Episode 2, Disengage. So if you have not watched the episode yet, please go to Paramount Plus, watch the episode, and then come back and enjoy our video. Because Burley and I, we're going to be throwing spoilers all over the place. We're going to be throwing spoilers all over the Titan A. Right, Burley?
Yes, we will be.
All right. So with that said, let's go ahead and get into it. So I'm going to throw up the first image now. So obviously, Jack Crusher. I mean, this guy is a talker, isn't he? I mean, it's like we get him. You got the Fenris Rangers, of course. They come and they pursue him. They board the ship, and then Jack is like talking it all up and showing them all of the medical supplies and everything. And he knows what's going on down there on their planet and everything. And so he's just talking it up. And then the guy opens a crate and there's a bottle of Romulan ale in there, and he keeps talking it up and everything. I mean, what did you think of that, Burley? I mean, this guy, he's a pretty good con artist, man.
Oh, that he is. He is a good con artist. But I just love it. He just knows he can talk. If he just keeps talking, he talk his way out of it, out of anything here. Like, I didn't expect, because the episode starts, gives you the whole flash,
it's like a 2 week earlier flashback.
And then it goes the 2 week earlier, and just showing him just being, he's got a silver tongue. He could just go and just get what he wants.
Right.
Yeah.
But little do we know, obviously, these Rangers, they know of the people who were pursuing him in the present time. And so they were, giving a message to let these people know where Jack Crusher is. Yeah. So anyway, and then we get back to, of course, the present day, and obviously where we left off in episode 1. Obviously, Jack and Picard and Riker, they're on the ship that Beverly has. Beverly is, of course, in the medical, capsule still there. But then the next image I want to show, obviously, we get Commander Hansen, aka 7, of course, and Captain Shaw. And, Captain Shaw is just basically, he doesn't care. And, he's like, they got themselves into this predicament, and you were insubordinate. You were with them on this. It is what it is. And then I love the comeback before Commander Hansen, or 7. I'm just gonna call her 7. Before she walks out of the room, she basically just says, do you want to be known as a hero that saved heroes, or do you want to be known as the person who let 2 heroes die?
Yeah, that was just such a great response with her.
Yeah,
just the deal. I love that. And you could just tell when she says that. They cut to his face, and you could just tell he was just like, he wants to throttle her, but he knows she's right.
Yeah, but I can kind of understand Shaw's way of thinking, though, man. I mean, because as a Federation starship officer, you have to put the needs, and you have to think of the many more than you think of the few, in the sense that, 2 people compared to 500 crew members on this ship, and, he's putting, to save these 2, he would be putting the whole ship in those 500 people in danger and possible death. So, I can kind of understand, where he's coming from here, and his feelings in this sense. But anyway, yeah. So, I mean, what I loved though was that cool CGI scene though, that when Captain Shaw, finally, takes to heart what Seven said to him. And then, of course, the tractor beam is on them because, of course, this big ship is there from the end of the last episode. And then they put the tractor beam on him, and then the Titan just comes in there and boom, just right there, just knocks out the tractor beam. I thought that was really cool. What'd you think of that, Burley?
Yeah, that I at first didn't see coming. It was gonna be honestly, okay, how are they gonna get out of this situation? Oh shit, he actually was willing to come help them.
Yeah.
7 and 9 did get to him.
Yes.
Boom, come in. It was very nicely done.
Yeah. But then obviously they get on board the Titan, and then of course Jack is taken into custody and all. And then throughout the episode, it's like the argument, do we give this guy Jack over because we found out that he's been smuggling a bunch of stuff, and he's a criminal in most likelihood in the case. But then Picard and Riker are trying to persuade Shaw that, hey, it's like the Federation and the way we do things, it dictates that we don't hand over people to mercenaries. Let the courts decide things. Yeah. And that's what Picard was arguing. Let the courts decide it, not just give him over to these mercenaries, or that are just going to kill him. And what was it, Riker was mentioning that ship was just a guillotine.
Yes.
So what did you think of that, Burley? I thought that was really cool. I like the back and forth between Shaw and Picard and Riker, as it came to Jack, because of course Beverly was still in stasis, and she was out and she couldn't defend him.
Yeah. So I did like this, and I like from all views. They're also doing, like, Picard and Riker are also doing this because they know if they give him up and he gets killed, like he goes over there, he's dead. No matter, like, Jack is dead.
Yeah.
They also know Beverly wakes up. Hey, where's my son? Yeah, we gave him over to the mercenaries that we want and just got him killed. You want to go have lunch? No, that's not going to fly. So they know that. Yeah. But, and I get it from this other Captain Shaw's view of he was like, if I give up this one kid, I save all of us.
That's right.
And you two guys and Crusher. He's like, okay, to quote the famous line, the needs of many outweigh the needs of the few.
Yeah, well, he was calling Picard and Riker relics, basically. So, yeah. Well, anyway, let's move on here. So we get, of course, introduced to our villain here. So played by Amanda Plummer. Yeah. So Vadic, and boy, oh boy, she's good, man. I mean, especially there in the chair, and she's like talking about how time, it's like ticking and everything, and it's like, you're holding him hostage. The only thing I didn't like about her was her French accent was pretty bad.
Oh yeah, the accent was bad, and it's like, why do we have to have this? Is something like I'm putting this to all TV shows. If the actor can't do the accent, and it's not like a period piece like they are in, like in England in 1850 kind of thing, and where the accent was really needed.
Yeah. Don't
push the accents. Stop trying to do stupid accents. It's not worth it.
And what was interesting is the scars on her face kind of reminded me of in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, of course, Kang. Kang has his scars on his face like that too. So, yeah. But I thought she was really good, and I like how she was talking about the Shrike, as a small bird, which of course hunts its prey and pricks it little by little until it kills it. And that's how she's explaining that's what's going to happen if you don't turn him over, And then she's like, okay, I'll drop my shields and then you can scan my weapons array and everything else. And it's like 286, photon torpedoes, plasma torpedoes, quantum torpedoes, this and that, you name it. I mean, that ship was completely loaded, with weapons. And so that's what was scaring Shaw too. Shaw was that was like, they can just obliterate us, basically.
Yep.
So, okay, so let's get to Raffi's story here. And of course, Raffi gets on the news channel or whatever on her ship, and of course, it seems like the Federation is trying to pin what happened in the last episode with that quantum tunnel weapon on some Romulan. But she doesn't believe that, and she's trying to find another lead, and so she finds this other lead in a Ferengi named Sneed, and then she gets into a text conversation again with her contact, in Starfleet security. And I love just the text messages coming back to her. It's like, she's saying 179 people confirmed dead, and then the text says 180 if you continue to pursue this. Disengage. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, but of course she's headstrong and she's not going to listen to that. And so then she goes down to the planet's surface and runs into her old husband, and the husband is teed off because she doesn't think about their son. It's all about of course, obviously, that she had the drug addiction and all, but then again, of course, her work and stuff, and he's like, what's it going to be? Is it going to be the son or the Sneed character, and who he actually knows, knows it. He's just a kind of like some kind of drug lord or whatever. Yeah. And of course, obviously, she's gotta meet Sneed and all. And so she goes in there, obviously, and then of course he makes her take the the drug and everything, and he's like, whoa, man, it's like, you're pretty good, when you were younger, you must have been really good on this stuff and all. But then he takes the Romulan guy's head, and it's like, I know you don't work for him, because that's what she was trying to, cover, and say that she worked for this Romulan guy. And
she said, I knew he didn't do it because I worked for him and I was there. And he's like, bullshit.
Yeah. And so then he just pulls out the Romulan guy's head, and he's like, okay, now I'm going to take your money, and these guards of mine behind me, they're going to take your head. And then, boy, oh boy, yeah, who do we get? Good old Worf. And man, oh man, just he takes those guys out, and then just Sneed's head just whack.
Well, I love it. Just as he's coming in, she stabs Sneed in the hand with a knife because he's trying to take the money and stuff on the table. Yeah, and then it shows like she thinks like, okay, I can kind of fight. She picks up like a phaser, and she's just like,
oh, she's wasted.
She's wasted because of the drug, and then she just falls to the ground, and you can just. She's just trying so hard to fight to get up and take care of the situation, but you get I love it. You get,
but she didn't need to. She didn't need to.
You get Worf, and they just show like a new version of the bath lift, just him chopping people down, and him picking you up. It says, "I told you."
I told you not to engage. I just love that part, man. And then, of course, the little Klingon music. And oh, that was so good, man. Yeah, so great entry for Worf. And it's interesting, I guess Worf is, in Starfleet security now. Maybe he's one of the top dogs in Starfleet security. And, I mean, and we were talking about this before the show. I mean, those text messages, and of course he wasn't going to do a face-to-face meeting with her. But I mean, just how the text was coming out, the language in the text. I'm like, why didn't I realize this was Worf actually talking to her? Yeah.
See, that's the thing. Like, That was well done, because it's like, because I was paying attention to the text, but not, fully like sitting there and dissecting and pause and being like, wait a minute, it sounds like Worf.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, okay, here we got this. No, they did good, and I think they did a really good thing here with Worf of they give you just enough. They don't, he's not in 10 minutes of the episode. Right. I want more of them. They give you this small burst here, and it's like
just 5 seconds of his face. Yeah, that was great.
5 seconds of his face, 10 to 15 seconds of blurred of him chopping up people.
Oh yeah,
and you get one line out of him.
Yeah,
and it's classic. Like, okay, this makes just a great entrance. Can't wait to see him later down the season.
Yeah. So anyway, we get back to the Titan, and of course, time is running out and all. And Picard, has a conversation with Jack and all, and it's interesting. I mean, he's a pretty smart guy, and he's able to con the guy in security that was in charge of the the brig, to get the force field. To tell him about the level of the force field so that he could use that little zip line thing to get it open and everything and headbutt the guy and get out of there. And so then he runs and he gets to the transporter room and all. And I mean, time is basically out. And Seven, she's got, some of the security, detail and everything going to the shuttle bays and she starts heading over to the transporter room. And I guess, and what's interesting during that time, it's like they were all out of options, Riker and Picard. So it's basically Riker goes into the med bay there, where Crusher is under heavy stasis. It's like the doctor, the chief medical officer saying, she's gonna make it through, she's gonna be all right, but she's heavily sedated, she needs to rest. And then Riker just goes and takes the the hypo spray thing to wake her up. What are you doing? Because they need her, because they have no more options, and then obviously Seven runs into Jack there in the image in the transporter room and all, but then Riker brings Crusher up to the bridge, and one of the most emotional moments of the entire episode, Crusher doesn't even need to speak.
She just blinks at him a certain way.
Just blinks at him, and how she stares, kind of stares down, knowing that that's his son, and then Picard, he closes his eyes, like he knows it's true now.
Yeah.
And so then because just previously Captain Shaw had made sure that all the shuttle bays were closed down and everything else, actually to open them, because they were going to send him, he was going to send them over. But then Picard's like, nope, shut everything down, close them down, and then Shaw's like, why are you doing this? You're going to get us all killed. And then Picard finally says it, because he's my son, and then Shaw, just like Shaw's reaction, God damn it, and then, he at that point, he's like, okay, he's going to work with Picard and Riker, and then of course, evasive maneuvers, get ready to get us out of here, blah blah blah. Whatever happens after this, Picard, that's on you. But he's helping now, and then of course Jack puts drops the phaser down, lowers the phaser down and everything, and even Seven is in amazement that learning that that's actually Picard's son, and then, of course, you get the phaser, the photon torpedoes. There's like 3 photons that the Titan shoots and hits the enemy ship. And then, of course, Vadic is like, follow them.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, I just thought that was classic. And then, of course, they go into the nebula, both of the ships, and end of episode. So how did you feel about this ending?
The ending was okay. Like you said, we knew he was going to be his son. Like, they had the little moments earlier in the episode where like Picard and Jack are talking. He's like, I don't have a father, and the whole teenage angst there you're getting there is like, okay, they're really laying it on. And Riker's even going to Picard, and he's like, he reminds me of a young you on the Enterprise.
Yeah.
when you were younger, and it's like, okay. Like, I do like the whole emotional reunion between Crusher and Picard, and her just not even having to speak. But like, we're gonna need a lot of backstory here, context here, be like, we just one night just did stuff, and then I found out I was pregnant. I was like, I'm not gonna tell Picard he's the father.
Yeah.
Like that's one thing I'm like, I'm kind of dreading, but overall, this was a really good episode, and I can't wait to see where we're gonna go for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get Raffi and Worf are gonna get over to the Titan at some point. They're gonna have to get away from the Shriek and Vadic. But who knows? I mean, she's going to follow them and probably, knock out some of their systems and things like that. I don't know how they're going to get out of this, but then we're going to get Geordi, at some point, maybe in the next episode or episode 4. But he's coming. And then obviously we're going to get Brent Spiner as Lore. And I'm going to say it right now. I really think that Lore is the one that's pushing all the buttons here. I think that he's in charge of Vadic. He's in charge of, who took that quantum tunnel weapon from the Daystrom, Research Institute. So I think he's the one as the episodes, continue and move on. I think, it's going to be Lore that's behind everything. I think he's going to... Vadic is like the main villain right now, but she's like the side villain, I think. And later in the season, I think Lore is going to be the main. What do you think on that?
I think that is quite possible. I could see that coming. So... Yeah.
So, really excited. So far, the first 2 episodes have been really, really good. Looking forward to the 3rd episode and seeing how the Titan A gets out of this predicament, and how they introduce Worf to Picard again, and and to get Geordi into the mix as well. So and one other thing, I like Geordi's daughter, Sydney LaForge. Shaw was talking about how did they do that, when it came to the the enemy ship, like just basically throwing the Crusher's ship, the medical frigate or whatever, right at the Titan, just like slingshotting it right at, and then her explanation is like, this is how my father would explain it, I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. So anyway, I've been your host Expat, along with my co-host Burley. We look forward to seeing you for Picard season 3, episode 3, our recap and discussion next week here on Warp Factor 10, our show about all things Star Trek here on the Arena Productions. So until then, take care and have a great week, and we hope to catch you next week. So live long and prosper, everybody, or in Klingon, Kapla. Take care, everyone. See ya. All right.